Top story tonight, the state funeral of former President Jimmy Carter continues today in Atlanta. Our Archa Shashadri spoke with the CEO of the Carter Center about the 39th president's legacy.
For those who knew former President Jimmy Carter, they say he was someone who always gave back to his community. That's exactly why he set up the Carter Center back in the 1980s here in Atlanta that still continues to thrive here today, focusing on restoring elections, monitoring diseases around the world, and trying to eradicate them things like river blindness and guinea worm, as well as finding ways to restore peace and democracy.
President Carter considered the Carter Center a home away from home. For 40 years, he worked here 1 week every month and lived here, literally in a Murphy bed.
The Atlanta-based nonprofit receives donations and endowments from the government and is now allowing one final goodbye for its founder, Jimmy Carter.
We really wanted to create something that was like a mini Camp David, a place where people could come and talk about conflict resolution, talk about human rights, bring global health to the center of people's attention. And so in creating the Carter Center, it did just that. We're able to have partnerships with Emory University and CDC and so many others.
For the past week, people have been dropping off tributes here in Atlanta, dropping off things like candles, flowers, peanuts, and other ways to pay their respects for the former president.
The flowers, the notes, the handwritten notes, the chalkboard that's been put up, people just want everybody to know that he meant something to them. And we've heard these great stories, whether he was shaking someone's hand on a plane or whether somebody knew somebody who no longer has a blinding eye disease because of his work.
The former 39th president and his wife, Rosalind, started the center after his one term in the White House, and it's improved the quality of lives for people in more than 80 countries.
All of those things are what he spent 40 years building. And so now we have a staff who have trained under him, who have that expertise, and for us, that's what we will carry on. His North Star was both global health and peace, and we will continue working in those two areas because that's what he wanted us to do.
Those who knew Jimmy Carter say he was a Southerner at heart, enjoyed his brisket, and loved his wife's strawberry shortcake. He enjoyed meeting people and was a good listener, and authored more than 30 books.
Being down in Plains was like visiting any grandparent's home. You had kind of the chocolate chip cookies from Chips Ahoy put out for you, but you talked about everything around the world that was happening.
The Carter Center CEO says a few words to describe President Carter include a moral compass, integrity, sincerity mixed with stubbornness, but a well-rounded person who lived his values. Reporting in Atlanta, Archit Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief.
Carter will lie in repose in Atlanta until 6 a.m. Tuesday. Then he will return to Washington for his national funeral. For more on Carter's legacy and life and the full details on the state funeral, head to our website. That's WSAV.com/Carter.